Today, we're taking a tour of what might be the most important command center in the entire biological world. And no, it's not some top secret government building. It's the tiny headquarters that directs almost all life as we know it, and you have trillions of them inside you right now. So let me ask you a question. What do you think is the busiest, most powerful, most important office on the entire planet? A presidential office? Maybe a giant corporate headquarters?
Well, the real answer is actually a lot closer to home. In fact, it's inside you. There are literally trillions of these offices inside your body, all working nonstop, 24/7. We're talking, of course, about the cell's nucleus.
The nucleus is the absolute heart of a cell's operations. You can think of it like a high-security vault and a CEO's office, all rolled into one. Its main job? To store and manage the master blueprint for life itself, our DNA. And this isn't some tiny closet in the corner either. The nucleus is a huge deal, typically taking up about 10% of a cell's total volume. That is a massive amount of cellular real estate dedicated to one single, absolutely critical job: managing information. So, what does this command center actually look like on the inside? Well, let's take a tour of its structure and see how it's built to protect the most valuable information in the universe. Okay, so every important headquarters needs some serious security, right? The nucleus is no exception. Its first line of defense is a structure called the nuclear envelope. These are the office walls, and trust me, they are incredibly sophisticated. See, this envelope isn't just a single wall, it's a double membrane. It acts as this really strict barrier, separating the super-organized nucleus from the kind of chaotic stuff happening in the cytoplasm outside. Its number one job is keeping that precious DNA safe, while its outer layer cleverly connects to the cell's internal highway system, the endoplasmic reticulum. But you might be wondering, how does anything get in or out? Well, these office walls are dotted with about 3,000 to 4,000 of what you can think of as security gates. They're called nuclear pores, and they are incredibly picky, controlling a massive amount of traffic. They let important messages like RNA out, and they allow key proteins in, all while making sure the DNA blueprint never, ever leaves. All right, once we're past security, we find the real treasure, the master blueprints. This is all our genetic information, but it's not just a messy pile of DNA. Oh no, it's this carefully organized material called chromatin. Now, this blueprint exists in two different states. Most of the time, it's in the form of chromatin. Think of it as long, loose threads. This is the working copy of the blueprints, easy to access for all the cell's daily jobs. But when the cell needs to divide, that chromatin packs itself up super tightly into these dense structures called chromosomes. This is the moving copy, perfectly organized so it can be duplicated and moved without getting damaged. And tucked away inside the nucleus is another critical department, the nucleolus. This dense little spot is basically the cell's ribosome factory. So get this, the command center doesn't just store the blueprints, it also builds the very machines, the ribosomes, that are needed to go out and carry out the instructions. How cool is that? Okay, so we've toured the building. Now let's see what actually happens inside. What are the critical functions of this command center? I mean, what does it do all day? The core function really is turning that DNA blueprint into the actual building blocks of the cell, which are proteins. It happens in two main steps. First, inside the nucleus, a section of DNA is copied into a portable message. This molecule is called messenger RNA, or mRNA. That process, it's called transcription. Then, that mRNA message slips out of the nucleus through a pore and finds a ribosome, which then reads the instructions and builds the protein exactly as specified. And that's translation, blueprint to building block. So if we were to write a job description for the nucleus, this really sums it up perfectly. It handles information storage. It's the master blueprint library. It's in charge of control and regulation by sending out directives. It manages cell division, kind of like a company overseeing its own expansion. And finally, with the nucleolus, it's responsible for machine production. It's the ribosome factory. It truly is the cell's indispensable headquarters. Okay, this is all really fascinating biology, I know, but what's the bottom line? Why does having this super sophisticated command center matter so much? Not just for the cell, but for us. Well, the presence of a nucleus is one of the biggest dividing lines in all of biology. You've got simpler cells, like bacteria. They're called prokaryotes. Their DNA just kind of floats around inside. Think of it like a studio apartment. But eukaryotic cells, the kind that make up plants, animals, and us, they're like complex mansions. And the nucleus is the head office that allows for all that incredible complexity and organization. Without it, life as we know it simply couldn't exist. But what happens when things go wrong? When this perfectly organized command center starts to lose control of its most important functions, well, the consequences can be absolutely catastrophic. Because the nucleus is in charge of cell division, any error, any mutation in that DNA blueprint can throw the whole process into chaos. If the cell starts getting the wrong instructions, it can start dividing over and over uncontrollably. And this is exactly how a failure in the command center is directly linked to devastating diseases like cancer. But it's not all doom and gloom. Because we understand how this command center works, we're also learning how to fix it. Understanding the blueprint gives us the power to unlock some incredible new possibilities for the future. This is why studying the nucleus is right at the heart of modern genetics and medicine. It's opening the door to unbelievably advanced treatments, including revolutionary fields like gene therapy, where scientists are literally trying to correct errors directly within the cell's master blueprint. And this leaves us with a pretty profound final thought. For billions of years, the nucleus has been writing the story of life. Now, for the first time in history, we are learning how to hold the pen. The question is no longer just what the blueprint says, but what we might one day choose to write ourselves.